Morning students, today our topic is linear momentum. Linear momentum, it is also called as impact of force. Impact of force is a mainly depends on two factors. One is mass, another one is velocity. This impact of force is depends mass and velocity. If mass increases, impact of force also increases. Velocity increases, impact of force also increases. This is simply called as linear momentum. Linear momentum is nothing but the symbol of linear momentum is P, the product of mass and velocity. The linear momentum is a product of mass and velocity is called as momentum. The linear momentum mainly depends on mass and velocity. It is also called as impact of force. Impact means some force act on the object. That is called as the impact of force. So suddenly the force act on the object is an impact. Some impact are created. That's why impact of force. Momentum, which is equal to mass into velocity. The momentum, linear momentum mainly depends two character. One is mass, another one is velocity. So momentum depends mass when velocity is constant, which means p is directly proportional to m when v is constant, p is directly proportional to v when mass is constant. The mass is also constant. The main character is velocity. Momentum is directly proportional to velocity. The direction of momentum is along the direction of velocity. Velocity is a vector quantity. Momentum is also vector quantity. What is the direction of momentum? The direction of momentum along the direction of velocity. It is a very important one unit. Momentum is a vector quantity, both magnitude and direction. Momentum P is equal to mass into velocity. Along the direction of momentum, along the direction of velocity. What is the unit of momentum? The unit of momentum is equal to, the unit of momentum. Unit of momentum is mass into velocity. What is the unit of mass? Kilogram. What is the unit of velocity? Meter per second, or kilogram meter second inverse, second power minus 1. This is a unit of momentum, which means what is the Cgs unit of momentum? Cgs unit means Cgs unit of momentum is equal to mass into velocity. Unit of mass in Cgs unit of mass is gram. Cgs unit of velocity is centimeter per second. So which is equal to gram centimeter second inverse. This is Cgs unit of momentum. This is mKs unit of momentum. And another one equivalent unit of momentum, which is equal to SI unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. Kilogram meter per second. SI unit or mKs unit of momentum, kilogram meter per second. Sometimes what is the equivalent unit of momentum? Force is equal to ma. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. SI unit of force is Newton. Newton is equal to ma, mass, kilogram, acceleration, meter per second square. Newton is equal to kilogram meter per second square. Equivalent unit of Newton. In lower section. Studied well in lower section. Newton is equal to kilogram meter per second square. See, Newton is equal to kilogram meter per second square. Unit of momentum is equal to kilogram meter per second, which is equal to kilogram meter per second into second divided by second. There is no change in value, there is no change in unit. So, which is equal to kilogram meter second divided by second square. So, which is equal to kilogram meter per second square into second. So, which is equal to kilogram meter per second square is equal to Newton. So SI unit of force is Newton. So Newton, this is second. This is another one unit of momentum. Another one unit of momentum. Equivalent unit of momentum. What is the equivalent unit of momentum? Newton second is the equivalent unit of momentum. SI unit or MKS unit, kilogram meter per second. Cgs unit of momentum is gram centimeter per second or gram centimeter second minus 1. Equivalent unit of momentum based on force, Newton second. This is the equivalent unit of momentum. And next one is it is a vector quantity. Direction of momentum is main important along the direction of velocity. It is vector quantity. Momentum is vector quantity. Momentum is nothing but a product of mass and velocity. It is also called as impact of force. One example, a ball of mass 1 kilogram moving with a speed of 10 meter per second. A ball of mass m is equal to 1 kilogram moving with the speed of ball, which is equal to v equal to 10 meter per second. Rebounds after a perfect elastic collision. It is a very important word. Perfect elastic collision. Rebound after a perfect elastic collision is, which means the ball hit on the wall. The ball must be rebound in same velocity because of perfect elastic collision. That's why rebound in same velocity. Rebound after a perfect elastic collision is nothing but a ball must be rebound in same velocity in opposite direction. That's why the perfect elastic collision with the floor. Calculate the change in linear momentum of the ball. Change in linear momentum of the ball. Just a ball, mass kilogram, velocity, initial velocity 10 meter per second. It hit on the perfect elastic collision. Just a hit on the floor, perfect elastic collision. The floor is perfect elastic collision, which means the ball rebound with the same velocity. Rebound with the same velocity. So mass of rebound. The mass of ball is 1 kilogram. Rebound with means same velocity. This is initial velocity. Now this is final velocity. Final velocity is also 10 meter per second because of perfect elastic collision. So with the floor, calculate the change in linear momentum of the ball. First I want to calculate the initial momentum. What is the initial mass of ball is equal to 1 kilogram. Velocity is equal to 10 meter per second. There is no change. So I want to calculate the initial momentum. Initial momentum means before collision. Before collision, initial momentum P initial equal to, what is the formula? Momentum. Momentum is equal to mass into velocity. So mass into velocity equal to 1 kilogram into 10 meter per second, which is equal to 1 into 10, 10 into kilogram meter per second. Kilogram meter per second. This is the initial momentum. I want to calculate this final momentum before collision and after collision. After collision, final momentum, which is equal to mass. Mass is not changed, remains same, mass and velocity. This is final velocity. It is a very important one. The direction of momentum along the direction of velocity. Now the ball hit the ball or the ball move in this direction, hit the floor and rebound in the opposite direction. The direction of velocity is opposite direction. Final velocity is opposite to the direction of initial velocity. So the velocity is a vector quantity. So direction is very important. First one, this direction. Final velocity is opposite direction. So this is minus V. This is minus V final. V final is also same because of perfect elastic collision. Rebound after a perfect elastic collision. So rebound in same velocity but opposite direction. So PF is equal to minus MV. So PF is equal to mass 1 kilogram minus mass 1 kilogram velocity 10 meter per second. So P final is equal to minus into plus, minus, so 10 kilogram meter per second. This is final momentum. This is initial momentum. What is question? Calculate the change in linear momentum. Change in linear momentum. What do you mean by change in linear momentum? Del P is equal to, this symbol means change. Change in momentum is equal to final momentum minus initial momentum. This is a formula of change in momentum. Change in momentum is nothing but final momentum. Change in momentum is equal to final momentum minus initial momentum. Difference between final momentum and initial momentum. So change in momentum which is equal to, what is final momentum? Minus 10 kilogram meter per second minus of, this is initial momentum, 10 kilogram meter per second. So which is equal to minus 20 kilogram meter per second. This is change in momentum of the ball, or del P is equal to minus 20 Newton second. This is change in momentum of the ball. It is a very important 2 mark question. Force. And next example, a heavy truck and bike are moving with the same kinetic energy. Same kinetic energy. First one truck, another one is bike. Truck, this is bike, are moving with the same kinetic energy. If the mass of truck is 4 times that of the bike, the mass of truck is equal to 4 bike mass. So the mass of truck is 4 times that of the bike. Calculate the ratio of their momentum ratio. Bike and truck and bike momentum ratio. First of all, I want to calculate this kinetic energy formula. What is kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is nothing but which is equal to half mv square. This is the general formula of kinetic energy. This is kinetic energy, which means the object moves with the v velocity. The mass of object is m. The mass of object is m with move velocity v. The kinetic energy formula is equal to half mv square. What is the relation between kinetic energy and momentum? So kinetic energy, I want to get this kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equal to half m v square, general formula. So kinetic energy simply E is equal to half m v square. E is equal to 1 by 2 m v square into multiple m divided by m. There is no change. Multiple m divided by m. There is no change in the values. So that's why multiple m divided by m. Kinetic energy is equal to 1 by 2 m into m square v square divided by m. So kinetic energy is equal to 1 by 2 m square v square mv whole square divided by m. So kinetic energy is equal to 1 by 2 mv, you know well, product of mass and velocity is nothing but this is momentum, p square divided by m. So relation between momentum and kinetic energy is equal to E is equal to 1 by 2 p square divided by m. So I want this calculate this p square is equal to multiple this 2me 2me. This is momentum. P is equal to square root of 2me. This is the relation between momentum and kinetic energy. This is an equation from kinetic energy. I want just calculate to momentum equation from kinetic energy. Kinetic energy half mv square. Relation between momentum and kinetic energy is P is equal to square root of 2me. But now the heavy truck and bike are moving with the same kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is same. What is the formula? Kinetic energy of mv square. This is truck is equal to half m bike whole square is equal to E. Because of kinetic energy same. That's why I want to take this kinetic energy is equal to E. Truck kinetic energy is equal to E. Bike kinetic energy is also E. Both kinetic energies E. But the condition, the mass of truck MT means mass of truck, which is equal to 4 times of mass of bike. The mass of truck is 4 times that of the bike, which means the kinetic energy, the mass of truck is 4 times that of the bike. That's why MT is equal to 4 MT. Just I want to make the equations. First one is momentum equation. First one is truck P1 is equal to, what is the formula? P1 equal to square root of 2 M1E. Second one is bike, P2 is equal to, this is truck, this is bike. So square root of truck means T, 2MPE, bike. This is equation number 1. This is equation number 2. So P truck divided by P bike is equal to square root of 2MPE divided by square root of 2MPE. Cancel the values. P truck divided by P bike is equal to momentum of truck divided by momentum of bike, which is equal to square root cancel, E value cancel, 2 cancel. So square root of M truck divided by square root of M bike. So PT divided by P bike is equal to square root of M truck is equal to 4 times of M bike. So 4MP divided by square root of MP. Cancel the values. Square 4 values 2 root MB divided by root MB. So cancel, which is equal to 2 divided by 1. So momentum of truck and momentum of bike ratio is equal to 2:1. 2:1. The momentum ratio. Then calculate the ratio of that momentum, which is equal to PT truck of momentum divided by truck of bike, which is equal to 2:1. Next is Newton's law of motion. It is a very important law. Newton first law and second law and third law. And the motion equations are very important role in the Newton's law. First one is Newton first law, Newton second law, Newton third law. Newton first law define the force. Newton second law derive the force. Newton third law effect of force. First Newton first law. What is Newton first law? Says that every object continue to move state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless it is not to change state of rest or state of motion when external force act on the object. External force act on the object. When the state of rest of object, the state of rest or uniform motion is not changed when external force act on the object, unless it's move in state of rest or state of uniform motion. This is a Newton first law of motion. It is also called as a inertia. It's a defined as also inertia. No state of rest is also called as inertia. Inertia is classified as 3 types: rest, motion, and direction inertia. In before topic. So this is a very important character, Newton first law of motion. Newton first law of motion states that the state of rest or state of uniform motion is not changed whenever the external force act on the object. ஒரு பொருளுடைய தன்மை மாறவே மாறாது. ரெஸ்ட்ல இருந்தாலும் சரி, மோஷன்ல இருந்தாலும் சரி, வெளியிலிருந்து ஒரு ஃபோர்ஸ் ஆக்ட் ஆகிற வரைக்கும் அதோடைய ஸ்டேட்டா மாத்திக்காது. இதுதான் நியூட்டன் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லா ஆஃப் மோஷன். This is a state of Newton law of first law of motion. This is a derived definition of force. And next one is, it is a classified is a two types. One is a like parallel force. Another one is unlike parallel force. Simple example. For example, one object, one force act on this F1. Another one force act same direction F2. I want to calculate this resultant force. If two force equal or unequal magnitude or unequal magnitude act in same direction is called as a like parallel force. The two forces act on the object same direction, like equal or unequal magnitude. This is called as the resultant force is called as like parallel force. For example, F1, one force acting on object, another one F2's maximum magnitude or act on the object, but same direction. I want to calculate the resultant force. The resultant force is equal to F1 plus F2, which is equal to F1. For example, F1 plus F2 is the maximum magnitude, or F2 plus F1. The resultant force is same. The equal or unequal magnitude act on the object, the force equal or unequal act on the object in same direction is called as like parallel force. Another one, consider one object. This is F1. Another force act on this but opposite direction, F2. I want to calculate this. F1 force act on in one direction, F2 in opposite direction. Resultant force Fr is equal to, for example, F1. This is maximum magnitude means, first of all you take F2 minus F1. If two forces act on the object, for example F2 greater than F1, resultant force Fr is equal to F1 minus F2. Now F1 is greater than F2. What is the resultant force? F resultant force is F2 minus F1 when magnitude of second force is maximum. Resultant force F1 minus F1 when magnitude of first one force is maximum. What is the direction of resultant force? The direction of resultant force along the direction of which force has magnitude maximum. Example, one object F1 3 Newton, F2 3 Newton. What happened? The resultant force Fr is equal to F1 minus F2, same magnitude but opposite direction. 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. The resultant force is 0. The object does not move, should maintain its state of rest or uniform motion. Another one. When this is F1 3 Newton. This is F2 is equal to 5 Newton. What is the resultant force? F resultant force which is equal to, first one is, which one is maximum magnitude? F2. So F2 minus F1 which is equal to 5 Newton minus 3 Newton. 3 Newton is opposite to the direction of 5 Newton. That's why 3 is negative. So Fr is equal to 5 minus 3 which is equal to 2 Newton. Fr is the resultant force. The resultant force is 2 Newton. Another one example. See, this is F1. This is F2. F1 is equal to 3 Newton. F2 is equal to 5 Newton. Another one. This is F3 is equal to 4 Newton. F4 is equal to 8 Newton. What is resultant force? The resultant force is equal to, first of all, left side, another one is right side. I want to this. These two forces in same direction. So F left is equal to F1 and F2 is same direction. So F1 plus F2 which is equal to F1 value 3, F2 value 5. So 3 plus 5 is equal to 8 Newton. Left side. In right side, Fr is equal to F3 and F4 in same direction. The resultant force Fr is equal to 4 plus 8 is equal to 12 Newton. I want to calculate the overall resultant force is equal to in FL 8 Newton and Fr 12 Newton. So Fr minus FL is equal to 12 minus 8 is equal to 4 Newton. 4 Newton is the resultant force act on the object. This is a first one is a like parallel force, second one is unlike parallel force, and this is resultant force. How we can calculate the resultant force in two or more force act on the objects? The resultant force is equal to 4 Newton. Next one is balanced force, unbalanced force. Very simple. Balanced force, unbalanced force. If balanced force means two equal force. For example, two forces is possible. One or two forces, or one or more forces act on the object. but the object does not change the state of rest. It's called as balanced force. For example, in this direction, F1 is equal to 3 Newton. In opposite direction, F2 is also 3 Newton. What happened? Resultant force is equal to 0. The resultant force is 0. So now the object is balanced. Another one is balanced force, unbalanced force. Balanced force is nothing but when two forces or two or more forces act on the object does not to change the state of rest or state of uniform motion, which means the object does not change the state. That is called as balanced force. For example, F1 force act in this direction and other one is F2 force acting in opposite direction. F1 is 3 Newton, F2 is also 3 Newton. So what is the resultant force? F is equal to F1 minus F2 is equal to 0. This is called as balanced force. The object does not change the state of rest or state of motion or the own state. That's why there is not change its own state. It is called as a balanced force. Unbalanced force means one or more force act on the object. For example, F1, this is 3 Newton and this is F2 is equal to 4 Newton. What is the resultant force? F resultant is equal to F2 minus F1 because F2 magnitude is maximum. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1 Newton. The object will move along the maximum magnitude force direction. So the resultant force is along the direction of F2. Because of F2 magnitude is maximum, the object will move in left side. So this is unbalanced force. This is unbalanced force. Not only two forces, two or more forces act on the objects. 1, 3, 4. Two or more forces act on the object. The state of rest is the state of object is does not change, which means a balanced force. One or two or more forces act on the object will move or the own state should be changed, left or right or anyone in direction. Which force is maximum? Maximum magnitude force. Which direction should act on maximum the magnitude of force act on the object? The object will move that direction because of resultant force is along the direction of maximum magnitude force direction. If one or two or more forces act on the object will move along one in particular direction, which means the change the state of rest or change the state of uniform motion or change its own state. So changes its own state. This is called as unbalanced force. It is a basic information of Newton first law of motion. And next is a Newton second law of motion. We'll meet next class.